Hello, and welcome to the Baga Ball.
Except we don't have a ball this year because nobody entered.
Oops.
I guess you're saving all your glory for next year when hopefully we'll all be together again. So instead, we get to have a retrospective on Rutabaga Queen glory. I'm Amy.
I'm Cliff.
We're your race announcers. We're also usually the hosts of the Rutabaga Ball, which is a great honor for us.
But, of course, this year it's not happening, as we mentioned.
I am Queen Robot. I've done kinetics for 900 years. I like farts.
I'm Sir Queen Robot, and I've been involved with Humboldt Kinetics for almost 20 years. I've worked almost every position in the KGC over the years, from judge and even racer. In 2017, I ran for Queen the first time.
My favorite thing about rutabagas is they light up my heart.
A regular rutabaga has 2 milliamps of electricity, but a royal rutabaga has enough to jumpstart my heart. I said that on a kinetic stage years before I was dating a queen. Well, I lost that ball. This ball is my 3rd anniversary with Queen Monica, and we're not at all gross in public about it. The next year, I was knighted by Emily and Justin Brown for my service to all things glorious over the years and continuing kinetic traditions and legacies, earning me the title Sir Princess, the one and only, the self-rescuing. And I've been crowned Trashionista Glorioso twice at the Kinetic Couture.
Remember, friends, you're a garbage can, not a garbage can't.
What I'm most known for is running the Kinetic Museum in Eureka.
Hello?
Glory, glory, glory.
And serving on the Kinetic Universe board from 2018 to 2020.
I agree.
I was crowned Rutabaga Queen at the first Baga Ball in 2020.
Welcome back to Science, where science is science. Today, science plus science equals science.
And the rest is really kinetic history, which I tell every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 2:13 to 6:32 at the Kinetic Museum.
I'm Queen Your Majesty, also known as Queen Cop. I was crowned in 2009, and that was the 40th anniversary, so I'm the Ruby Rutabaga Queen.
I'm Queen Shay, the flamboyant femme fatale.
I'm Queen Glitterina, 2014.
Emma the Enchantress here. Welcome to my palace.
I am 2010 Rutabaga Queen Dynamite.
I am So Hot She Burns, Rutabaga Queen and international soap star.
I'm Queen Metalana, Empower Us to Glory.
I am Monica Topping, Rutabaga Queen 2004, the Goddess of Entertainment.
When somebody becomes a Rutabaga Queen, they become a very special part of our kinetic family. And I don't say that lightly. We have people who we love very, very dearly, who we met because they ran for Rutabaga Queen.
I'm privileged to have not one, but 2 Rutabaga Queens and a racer on our city council in Eureka. What does that mean? We have council members who do not shirk in the face of challenges. They persevere because they know where they want to go, even if the elements aren't always agreeable. And they recognize and celebrate when they see others overcoming adversity. Unlike being a Rutabaga Queen, however, there are times when being a council member is not all that glorious. It's an earnest commitment to create policies that support our community, and that often means postponing something fun to read a staff report about complicated stuff. It means lots of meetings, and it means no bribes, really. Yet these fine individuals make their sacrifice because apparently something they value as much as the glory is service to their community, and we are so lucky to have them.
I was working on a new soap. It was called Racing Hearts. So I was exploring, what drives someone to race. My character was a long distance runner, and in my research I came across the kinetic sculpture race. I used that for my character and racing towards love, and decided one day I need to run for Rutabaga Queen.
I'm new to the Humboldt area. When I got here, I went and visited the museum. Had no clue what kinetics was. Everything that I saw was like, that is me, that is me. But I couldn't just jump into being a queen. I had to learn about the race.
I knew very little about kinetics. I knew that it was an event that went by my house. I did not know about Rutabaga Queens.
I started as an excited kid, and I took my role as a traffic cone very seriously.
In the name of Princess LaRue, I command you to stop.
My dad is a kinetic racer and a professor, and he told us about the race for years before we came to Humboldt, and as soon as we did, he introduced us to Hobart Brown.
I had no idea what a Rutabaga Queen did. Two of my co-workers, that's 2002 Queen Mo and Amy Berkowitz, who's one of our lovely MCs, both came up to me within the course of about a week and said, hey, you need to run for Rutabaga Queen. And I was like, cool. What does that mean?
The first time I heard about the race, I was fairly new to Humboldt County. It was 2004, and I came across an article that talked about this weird, quirky race that had been happening since 1969. I thought, this sounds just like my type of activity. It involves costumery and obnoxiousness in the form of having fun.
So I do have to give Queen Shay the credit for being the person who probably pulled me into kinetics originally. I'd been aware of it, I appreciated it. I confess I kind of thought of it as my parents' thing.
My mom actually used to show art at Hobart's gallery. So I grew up around Hobart, and he always really inspired me. And I really liked the idea of adults having fun so kids want to grow up.
I made an outfit out of duct tape, and I marched myself down there on day one, and I made a splash. So much so that after day one, Queens Pigtunia and Queen Jane Doe, as well as the fairy godmother, they pulled me aside and encouraged me to run for queen. So that's exactly what I did in 2005. I had no idea what to expect. I'd never seen a Rutabaga Queen contest. I just knew I had to do what I do best, which is have fun to the point of near obnoxiousness.
My dad is a kinetic racer and a professor, and he told us about the race for years before we came to Humboldt, and as soon as we did, he introduced us to Hobart Brown. We used to hang out in Hobart's studio, and he was going to teach us how to braise, and we used to take him to lunch, and he just said, you guys need to do this. And we said, yes, sir.
I had no idea what a Rutabaga Queen did. Two of my co-workers, that's 2002 Queen Mo and Amy Berkowitz, who's one of our lovely MCs, both came up to me within the course of about a week and said, hey, you need to run for Rutabaga Queen. And I was like, cool. What does that mean?
I think a Rutabaga Queen is the person who has so much fun and exudes so much glory that we all have more fun because they are there.
That's right. It's kind of the person who exemplifies the kinetic sculpture race to everyone. It's kinetic royalty.
A Rutabaga Queen is sort of the figurehead for the Kinetic Grand Championship. You are there to cheer on racers, bring glory to everyone, and collect a lot of glory for yourself.
My dear, dear, glorious founder, Hobart Brown, he always said that it was a queen's duty to have fun almost to the point of obnoxiousness. And I think that's one of the best descriptions you could ever have of what it's like to be the queen, to be the figurehead of this already quirky and zany race. You have to be ready to be having so much fun that not everybody will be delighted. But as long as you're delighted, That's all that matters.
It's for everybody. It's really the underlying current of everything that's involved with the kinetic universe.
I really wanted to inspire youth and show them that you can still be a weirdo, you can still have a good time. I was friends with Shay, the Queen of Controversy, and she's actually the one that inspired me to run.
I saw Lady Luck in her crown at an event, and I was like, I need a crown, so I ran the next year.
I am, to my knowledge, the only rutabaga queen with a kinetic chicken tattoo.
I was hanging out with Queen Monica, the goddess of entertainment, and I told her that I was thinking about running for rutabaga queen, and she proceeded to show me her kinetic chicken tattoo.
Yes, a kinetic chicken tattoo.
And told me everything I needed to know about kinetics and being a rutabaga queen.
I reigned in the year 2005, but that just wasn't enough glory for me. So I tried to run again in 2006.
I helped Shay win her crown in 2005, and then in 2006 she wanted a second crown.
What?
So we ran against her as a joke. Shay and Chris and I choreographing a crazy three-way pirate sword fight that I'm still very proud of. I hope they are too. And Shay didn't get a second crown, but we got Queen Harmony that night, and that was great.
And I was also going to race. But the Humboldt Kinetic Association, who was running the race at the time, did not like that I wanted to do both. So they tried to disqualify me, and it caused a lot of controversy.
There's a lot more about that story.
So it's after the ball, and from out of the shadows came the Queen Pigtunia, legendary two-time winner. And she says, Emma, you better run for queen again next year, and not as anybody's little sidekick. and boy, I hadn't been thinking about it before, but I don't think I thought about much after that for the next year.
We have 3 rounds of competition, including question and answer with ball gowns, so people make outfits to explain who they are.
There's the talent portion of the show.
Yeah, that's after people have been to the bar a few times, thank goodness. And, of course, the water crossing.
That's right. You have to do a water crossing indoors.
Or wherever the ball is.
How do you do that?
I dressed up like a sea hag.
Stage right is Metalana empowers to glory on her golden tricycle. And coming from behind are a flamingo and a dragon representing other teams. I motion them to go across. They get into trouble. So being the helper that I am, Flamingo got caught in a whirlpool. And we had to rescue her. Then as we kept going, the dragon got caught by a man-eating clam. So I got out my magic microphone, which of course was rose gold, and I gave it a little song. The clam opened up its mouth, and in it was a golden pearl that I went and presented to the queen judges.
I sang a medley of local radio jingles for my talent. Before the ball, I called around to all the local businesses whose jingles I wanted to sing, and I asked them if I could sing their jingle. I called Coast Central Credit Union. I got their director on the phone, and he goes, "Are you making fun of our jingle?" And I was like, "No, I love it." And he goes, "If you can get everyone else to agree to let you sing that jingle, then I'll let you sing mine." So I'm calling around, and I cannot get anyone on the phone. At the last minute, my dear friend Annette Kelly is friends with Chad Johnson, the dude that wrote a bunch of the local jingles. And she got him to just send me the background music for a ton of local jingles, and I got to just pick the ones that I liked.
I went to a ball the year Katie Texas was crowned, and I was blown away. I wanted to do it. I followed her around secretly, she doesn't know this, that whole year to see what a queen was supposed to do. So when I ran, I did some of the things that she did, thinking it was tradition. When it wasn't. So like, because one of her bribes was to put on red lipstick and kiss people, and that was a bribe, and I thought that was just something the queens did. So I did it the next year, and she was like, why are you copying me?
But I had to run for this crown against at least 7 really good people. I had to run against some very, very talented friends. And I'm not sorry they didn't win.
I ran originally with a whopping 2 weeks notice. And I was like, what do I do for a talent on stage? Like, I'm shameless, but I don't know if I have an onstage talent. And Amy taught me a flag routine. And I went home and made a couple of flags. I did this like 15-second flag routine, which honestly, if you were to ask me now to redo it, I absolutely could not. But at the end, my flag splayed out, and Hobart Brown was sitting right in the front row, and he started crying, and that was when I was pretty sure I won.
It was 2007. That was the 30th anniversary of Star Wars, and Star Wars was the first movie I'd seen in a theater as a kid. So I had intended to come out and read 200 original Star Wars haiku that I had written. But unfortunately, before I could read any of that, Darth Vader actually stormed the Rutabaga Ball. And fortunately, I had a lightsaber, but we had to have a duel, and I used the glory. Fortunately, the glory was more powerful than the dark side, and thank goodness for that. When we unmasked him, it was Queen Shay.
It was just shocking.
I don't know what possessed her to do that. I hope she's okay now.
My run for Rutabaga Queen was so chaotic. I mean, my characters and my soaps are so similar to my life. It's just surrounded by all of my admirers and lovers, past lovers, and twists and turns, the things that happen to me you don't even know. So a lot of this happened at the ball. I had a lot of my admirers and fans there who helped support me, and my talent was that, and still is, that I could magnify kinetic mojo through a mix of magic and dancing. It's quite powerful.
I had 2 main entourage who became the Ruta Badass Queens, the evil twins. I ran as a ringmaster. We made a life set, like a big old matticat, and we sang a sea shanty about whiskey and took over the matticat, and then I had trained bears and conjoined twins that sang a song. And I remember Mo saying to me afterwards, like, that's real queen material. You made everybody else do stuff. And that shows leadership.
Metalana is quite the shiny character. In fact, during her run, she had 4 signature outfits. Her custom-made kinetic chicken and power skirt, her flowy skirt. She always has a beautiful corset, my 2-toned reversible cape. Check this out. Accessorized by, of course, silver and gold glory.
So being Queen Glitterina, I shed glitter everywhere I go. It just is what it is. And I also had some glitter confetti cannons that one of my great friends, Nick, sent me from Nashville. I had to use them. So we talked about it. 2 days before my ball, I got a note saying no glitter at the ball. What? So I had to make some adjustments, but at the end, the glitter cannons went off.
I told her not to do it. She did it anyway. As a good entourage member, I went down to the Grange the next day after her ball, and me and Katie, Texas, and my boyfriend spent hours cleaning up the glitter from the floor.
She did not say that. Don't put that in there.
My talent. We were on stage doing the Rutabaga Boogie. By the end of my talent, everybody from the audience was up on stage dancing with us.
Queen Denise, the Imperial Empress, and her bagpipes. It was amazing.
Full battalion of Scottish men in kilts and bagpipes.
There was a huge, glorious procession. And who was at the head? The Empress, of course.
We got some great choreography. Both Queen Kaleidoscope did a great Lego-themed musical number, and Queen Poison Candy did some great musical number with her entourage and roller skates. But I will say, Queen So Hot She Burns had a sketch, a soap opera, and it was just about everything that I think you can imagine from that.
She had produced a video of her soap opera in advance that we got to watch. When she won her crown and her evil twin came and stole it, and she had the unibrow, and I just thought, why didn't I think of that?
Blue LaRue's talent. She was eating the thing we do not see. And it was spectacular. And how can you do that on stage and still remain a princess? So she's a Rutabaga princess for life. We love our Blue LaRue very much, but that was, for me, it seared
That was a
in
great
my
moment.
brain.
That
Seared
was
in
a
my
great
brain.
moment.
And it's
Pretty
exceptional
amazing.
because she wasn't elected. Only the queens know who make a queen.
I love my crown. I love talking about my crown. This is the last crown to be handled and blessed by Hobart Brown. Over a year or two before this, he had become a little too ill to make the crowns by himself. So this crown was made by his protege, Ellen. Right before the Rutabaga Ball, Hobart had a stroke and he was in the hospital and everything was so uncertain. His protege smuggled the crown into the hospital, and he was pretty weak and pretty out of it, but he put his hands on it and gave it his blessing, and apparently didn't want to let it go for a good long time. So thank you, Hobart, for putting that good blessing on my crown. Maybe that's why we've had so many great years together. Somebody stole the crown during the Rutabaga Ball. It was recovered in time to crown me. That is why we have had to have a really surprising amount of security around the crown.
Our crown is ours, and they're each special and unique. Mine, unfortunately, lost a chicken arm on the racetrack somewhere, and it was in a pocket, but it's long gone. This one was actually made by Justin Hobart Brown. Now, is Harmony actually donated the material for this, and it has a regal side and a party side. But I prefer the regal side because I'm a party in and of myself. So you can see that this is my main crown, but I've always have lots of things hanging on it. You can add bribes to it. It's all the ways the queens make their crown their own.
My crown was made by Justin Hobart Brown and Chelsea Hoff. And I think my crown is the last one that was made by a member of the Brown family.
Yes, my crown is very special. And here I am out on the Mattakit for the Queen's Cruise 2013, Queen Lady Luck reigning. Somehow, I swear I was pushed, and my crown just goes toppling into the bay. Thought it was lost forever, but the kinetic community came together, posted a reward, and divers found it days later, pulled it from the grips of the man-eating clam, and it is back on my head.
So my crown was made by Digital Dan. It's very shiny. It is a little bit heavy. This is my alternate crown, super lightweight, made by Amber Jones of Amber's Art. And look, I can move and shake and it stays on top.
This guy has rolled across a lot of dance floors. This crown has lived a life. I have a little cord on it. So when you see me wearing my crown, it is attached to my clothing, so it probably can't fall all the way to the ground if you hug me or if we dance together.
After I was crowned, and I was on the dance floor with Queen Emma, the Enchantress, and her crown fell off of her head. And it sort of bounced, and she swooped and picked it up and planted it right back on her head, and she was like, it happens. Dings in your crown are all part of being queen. It's all part of what makes your crown special. Every single dent in my crown is a story of a really good time that I had with it. It's missing one of its things here. I remember I was in Port Townsend and Justin was there and he was like, oh, I'll definitely fix that for you. And by the end of that Port Townsend race, I had lost the piece.
So this crown that I wear, which I got obviously when I got crowned in 2004, is one of the last, if not the last crown that Hobart actually had a hand in making. By that point, by 2004, his arthritis in his hands was getting really bad. He didn't make it by himself. There is another signature inside of my crown next to his that says Rob. It is one of the many Robs in kinetic history. It is not Robot, because we won't talk about how not old he was in 2004.
Oh, we can't talk about that.
But it's really special to me that this is one of the last Hobart crowns, possibly the last, but I think Queen Shay would argue with me on that one.
My crown was the last crown to be made by the glorious founder Hobart Brown. And I didn't get it on the night that I was crowned. So I got not crowned on the night I was crowned. In fact, I had to wait a full week and a day to be crowned at Crab Park.
This is one of the crowns I ran with. One of my very, very good friends, Amy Taylor, who owns Shipwreck, made this for me. However, my crown is at my Royal Crown Makers. He is needing to do a little repairs because it's big and beautiful and sometimes they need repairs.
I am not currently wearing my crown because I am in Melbourne, Australia, preparing myself for the first annual Canberra Kinetic Sculpture Race. So therefore, my crown is safe in America and will potentially be going to the Kinetic Museum as the last crown made by Hobart Brown.
We enjoy bribes.
I actually have a few older bribes.
Yeah. There's bribery is a big part of kinetics. It's a chance for you to give a little piece of who you are to the people who adore you.
Right. Bribery is a big part of the entire kinetic sculpture race.
Yes.
Bribe your judges, bribe everybody who helps. I've amazing bribes.
This is one of the fun traditions of kinetic sculpture race. You can use it to get you out of a situation or to just show your glory to somebody.
Dick Daniels would make these medallions. I think it looks like a mayonnaise lid. These are plaster of Paris. He made these pins that we wear, and they are plaster, and they will break. I believe when he gives them to you, they were guaranteed to break, is what the tag that came with them said. And oh, I always love these. I could never get enough of these plaster chickens.
I showed up to the Arcata Plaza and I took the stage with Cliff and Amy Berkowitz and Donna Landry, the kinetic songstress. And I got up on the stage with bare hands and Donna Landry goes, "You're a queen. You should have some gloves." And the next day she tracked me down on the course and she gave me a beautiful pair of dainty, perfect white gloves in this pink bag.
So I've got some teams that are like my teams, like Team Melvin, who's been around for much longer than I have. But after I became a queen, they started making it a point to include me in some of the special bribes that they did every year. So this M that I keep with my many years of laminates on me was from Team Melvin. Also, I've got my little robot, which is one of my favorite bribes here. And, well, early on, this was kind of a co-founder of Kinetic Universe thing. This is my little RQ Monica brass kinetic chicken. It has boobs. But I wear this with pride because not everyone has one of these, particularly not with my name on it.
I actually hold the, dubious honor of being the person who invented the beer bribe. Because I am friends with Queen Monica, the goddess of entertainment. When she ran for Rutabaga Queen, I thought up the beer bribe for her.
Now
it's
kind of become a
standard.
tradition. Yeah.
But so I'll claim a little piece of kinetic glory for that one.
I was told to bribe everyone. Cliff and Amy had their son helping them MC. So I'm, bribing this person, that person. I knew I was supposed to do a beer bribe. That was a tradition. And so I'm bribing everyone. And then I go to hand, this guy a beer on the stage. And Amy's like, "No, he's a minor." Thank you to Amy Berkowitz for making sure that I did not bribe a minor with alcohol.
So I always give all my racers little hand-baked things, but it's just we all bribe in our own different ways, and it's a way to show our art.
Many years ago, bribing actually got very intense and extravagant, and we had a literal embarrassment of riches. Just one round, one bribe from one person would be plunk, plunk, 2 bottles of wine. We're queens, we can get wine. It was a barrier to running for queen. I had somebody tell me, oh, I can't afford to run for queen. And that's not something that we want to hear. That's not what this is supposed to be about. We want to see your creativity in your bribes, and you don't have to spend a lot.
This is one of my absolute favorites. This is a little wind-up bunny that was made by Princess Shoshana. And she did one of these for each of us that looked just like us in our crowns.
Sat on my desk for a couple of days before I noticed, you see the little crown that it's wearing is almost a perfect tiny recreation of my own crown, and of course my peacock tail that I wore during my reign. Quite an ego stroke. Thanks for all that love and detail, Shoshana and Shoshana's team.
As you see some of the queen crowns, you'll understand why we might not wear them the whole time, that sometimes we switch to something that'll let you know that we're still a queen, and those are great bribes too. This one that I'm wearing right now is actually a bribe from Team Fun Guy.
Wearing my favorite bribe on my head. This beautiful top hat was given to me by, I think it was Team Trilobike.
One of the great ones is this Rutabaga Queen collector plate made by Poison Candy. Quite adorable, I think.
My beautiful friend Rihanna made me this dynamite scepter topper with the dynamite. The year that I reigned, she was kind of my chauffeur. She had also painted the scepter part of it was her broom handle, but she needed that back. So I still have this.
I have a lot of different patches and different pins and things. And so by the time we are done with the race and the ball, we're usually covered.
Sure, some falls off and some get hidden, but look at all this glory.
And we want to make sure that our names are also out there. So we create queen bribes every year as well to hand out. So it's one of the things, you don't know that you're going to be queen the weekend before the race you're crowned, and all of a sudden you need to make 1,000 more bribes. So that's part of the fun too, and part of the glory.
I think the most special bribe I have ever given was to start the Queen's Cruise. But I started it when I was running for queen. I hadn't even been selected as queen yet, but I pre-booked the Madaket because I figured if I won queen or not, it would still be the most glorious place for the queen to watch as the sculptures entered the water. And lo and behold, I won queen. And the Madaket has been the royal vessel out on the water for the water crossings ever since.
I have one from Queen Robotica. I wear mine so much that I've broken it, but made into a crown from computer pieces.
Queen Jane made us these wall plaques. It's a Queen's Recognition Award.
Then, for extra special people, you got a treasure chest. And in it, not only did I have trading cards with my pictures and information on, we had metal trading cards. Look how thick that sucker is.
One of my all-time favorite bribes that I ever got. At the end of Queen Jima's water crossing, they did, if I remember correctly, some synchronized water dance, and then she had her entourage in their swimsuits come over, and their bribe for us for that round was a feather. That is my favorite bribe that I've ever gotten.
Paper dolls. I love it. I want to play with them so much, but just can't have the heart to cut these out. But as you could see, Queen Dynamite made this for the queens a couple years ago.
This was one of my bribes. Medal ribbon rose.
One of my bribes that I gave to the judges when I ran, it's a little pocket mirror because everyone needs to, check their makeup now and then. And of course, there I am looking at you, reminding you you're fabulous.
This is disgusting because it goes with me everywhere. I've had it for 9 years now. It has sand inside of it because it's been to the beach with me. It's from Queen So Hot She Burns. It is a compact with her face in it. It says, "Hello, gorgeous." I love it. It's my all-time favorite.
When I came up with this one, I was cheesing because you wanted to Ruta for Medalana.
The duties of a rutabaga queen go beyond just presiding over our race.
That's right. You basically preside over this. This is the Kinetic Grand Championship.
Kinetic Universe.
The actual requirements of a rutabaga queen are to be at the race for 3 days. Look it up. We're not asking for much. Every queen gets to be her own kind of rutabaga queen. Every queen gets to put her own stamp on what the whole thing means.
Make sure you're enforcing those rules A&H the whole time to be having fun at all times. We embody that as queens. That is our job in this race, is pageantry. We're all pageantry, all fun, all the time. And I have one of the most amazing entourages that goes out every year with me. I'm part of the Kinetic Cops. And the Kinetic Cops, that's our job. We're the fun police, we're out enforcing things, and we're officially irresponsible.
I was having a meltdown. I was not following the rules of having fun at that very moment.
I have to make sure I always have my megaphone ready for the glory.
And Queen Your Majesty brought out her megaphone and was like, "Look at this," and then started like playing the song, and I was like, "Oh yeah." Your Majesty was a great queen that night. She snapped this queen into shape and reminded me that I am supposed to be having fun at all times.
I have actually raced. I was part of the counterfeit Bluesmobile. We had a lot of fun in that machine. The pictures of a full-size Cadillac cruising down the beach. Coming out of Crab Park, we broke an axle.
You wouldn't believe what happened next.
And we actually came over the finish line on day 3 in Ferndale on 3 giant Hoosier tires and a bike frame strapped to the 4th corner of our machine.
That was pretty amazing. I found that I was even more involved in community events than I ever had been.
I got to go onto the Keat auction in the wintertime. All the queens went on. It was just fabulous. I got to judge a lot of different contests. I did a kids talent contest, and how sweet is that? Kids singing and dancing. It was a brand new year for me in Kinetics, and I really got to know the community and the family.
You preside over all of Kinetics.
So typically our rutabaga queens come to all of our local events, starting with the Kids Kinetic Classic, which I get to MC every year. We get to see our next crop of kinetic inventors and racers, from itty bitty in utero all the way up until they're almost ready to be on a machine.
It's very cute.
It's really the most fun I ever have, and queens are always there for that. Queens preside over the race. They help select the next queen at the Rutabaga Ball. And at the race, they bring glory to everyone, to racers and spectators and officials. And wherever they go, they brighten up the day, and they help us so very, very much throughout the day. They've also been known to appear in parades representing Kinetics and go to other Kinetic events and just generally promote the race.
And just exude that spirit.
That glorious spirit.
Of glory that keeps all of the glorious spectators happy, that keeps all of the racers inspired, keeps us inspired as race announcers.
We show up to the roadie parades. Kinetics is not just a thing that happens Memorial Day weekend. It is a thing that happens year-round.
We went down to San Francisco to a budding new race down there and helped with the water part. And there I am in my queenly attire, knee-deep on the water ramp, helping racers in.
I have traveled to the Port Townsend race and I have been to the Corvallis race, which are both really, really fun. If you like to party, go to Port Townsend.
One of the fundraiser events that we did was Royal Oil Wrestling, in which I got my butt kicked by Queen Mo. Like, genuinely, there was no acting to be done there. We came back, I think, a year later with zombie wrestling and got my butt kicked again by Queen Mo. Fair and square. She's taken me down twice.
The year of my reign, I came into town to participate in the Zombie Throwdown event, and it was a blast. I was wearing some really fancy earrings, and I lost an earring, and it was never recovered. But I remember Queen Emma the Enchantress coming up and saying, "Don't you know you're supposed to take off your jewelry before a fight?"
Another really fun fundraiser that Kinetic Universe has done is Kinetic Trash Fashion. Fashion with a repurpose. I've been involved since the beginning. Throughout the years, I got first runner-up twice, both against robots. In 2019, I finally won. Kinetic Universe is really good at doing really fun fundraisers. I am one of the co-founders of Kinetic Universe, the nonprofit that puts on the Kinetic Sculpture Race, alongside Queen's Shay, 2005, and 2006 Queen Harmony. We all got together and founded the nonprofit that continues to put on the race. We did this back in 2007. Hobart named us and Queen Emma seers of the Kinetic Sculpture Race, which means that, amongst other things, it is one of our jobs to make sure that the race continues.
I'm one of a few dozen people that Hobart asked to carefully carry on these traditions and events. It's kind of a joke. It's more of an obligation than an honor, about 50-50, but that's Hobart's sense of humor.
We are both kinetic seers. Hobart made these for us. They include a genuine cubic zirconia, and it is fallen to us as he got towards the end of his life. He decided to find people who got it about the race and bestowed upon us both this honor and obligation to make sure that the glory continues.
I do have the honor of being the only double seer and the first seer. So I have the one that Amy mentioned with the cubic zirconia, but Hobart, years before he came up with those, gave me the first kinetic
And it
seer.
has a hole you can see through.
Right, there's a hole through it.
The greatest group of kinetic seers in toto have to be our glorious rutabaga queens.
Oh yeah.
The greatest moment of my entire reign in 2007 happened before the race even began. Hobart had been ill. He had had a stroke. He had been hospitalized. Nobody knew much about what we were going to be able to do and what was going to happen. But there at the start line on day one of the 2007 race, Hobart's limo rolled up with Hobart in it, and Hobart got out and sat in his throne there at the start line. And it had been a very tumultuous year. It was the first year that Kinetic Universe was running the race, and there had been so many questions about, will there be a race, and so much uncertainty about the future. And Hobart was there. He got to see that his creation was going to live on. He got to watch all the sculptures go by and cry big happy tears, which Hobart cried a lot of happy tears in his lifetime, which is a pretty good way to live. He passed away during my reign, and that just felt pretty momentous, and it felt like, maybe it gave me a little extra impetus and passion, or I galvanized something, I don't know. Because next thing I knew, I was in Corvallis and Port Townsend and San Francisco Pride and Baltimore, and we were doing oil wrestling, and we were doing singing performances, and like I say, I just started, and I didn't stop for a long, long time.
Now I serve on the Kinetic Universe Board of Directors. Being a Rutabaga Queen does not mean that you have to dedicate hours and hours of service to the Kinetic Grand Championship or Kinetic Universe. I wanted to honor the queens that came before me, that started this organization, that kept the organization running by playing my part.
Katie, Texas, talked to me once about being a queen, and she said that we were all performance artists. And I had never considered myself a performance artist until I put on my queen stuff, and then I'm like, oh, because when I go out there, I'm Glitterina. And it's a really great way to be somebody different than your everyday life, because my everyday life is not this glittery. Inside it always is.
It's all about creativity and sharing the fun, and if you have fun and everybody else has fun and you're the life of the party, think about running for Rutabaga Queen.
Yep.
It can be overwhelming to get so much glory for 3 days, but you have to be at the same time prepared to give as much glory as you get.
My biggest advice for anybody that wants to become a queen is get involved. We're here to support the racers. We're here to cheer them on. We're here to make every part of the race fun. So get involved, get to know the people, find your story inside of Kinetics, and then the queenship will come.
Love your character that you're gonna do. If you're gonna be in character all the time, remember that all public occasions you'll be in character. Somebody told me that, Jima, reminded me, pick a good character. So I did glitter, because I can be glittery any day, anytime.
You gotta see it. You have to come out at least once, be part of it, see what's going on.
My advice for anybody running for Rutabaga Queen is be yourself times 1,000. What you're doing is a little silly, a little weird. You're not sure people are gonna get it, but it means something to you. Just try it out. Try it out. Be yourself times 1,000 and take a bubble bath on the day of the ball.
To just be yourself, take your favorite things about yourself and just magnify them and let them shine. And being weird or silly and creative is celebrated here.
Please do run for queen in the future. We would love to have you amongst our ranks.
It's all about the fun and the glory.
We all rule. We just have a reigning queen each year. But once you're a queen for life.
I think most people know always a queen, but if someone who isn't familiar with Rutabaga Queens, I just graciously, blow them a kiss and say, thank you, darling, always a queen.
There's former queens, old queens. No. We are once a queen, always a queen. But we'll just remind you gently of that, just because there's a reigning queen every year. However, we're all queens forever.
Once a Rutabaga Queen,
always a Rutabaga Queen.
Once a queen, always a queen. So a queen-anniversary is every 10 years, and it's another chance for those queens to receive that glory again.
Every 10 years you get your queen anniversary. Mine is 3 years away. I am counting. Right now, this year, which is kind of, I think must be historical, we have Jima with her 10-year queen anniversary.
Denise, the Imperial Empress,
with her 20-year anniversary, and we have a 30-year anniversary, queen anniversary also this year.
And Queen Louise.
I want to wish a happy queen anniversary to Jima.
We love Jima.
It's her 10-year queen anniversary. She is currently doing something with the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Those lucky coasties.
I can't believe it's been 10 years since she became queen.
I know, it seems like yesterday.
Amazing.
Her dance, the skirt hiking up.
That's how you move your booty, Marilyn.
That was a great piece of talent.
And remember, Jima loves you.
That's right. And party responsibly, whippersnappers.
Queen Jima, happy 10th anniversary. Queen Jima, you are such a great queen and such a great person. And you just radiate everything that is good and loving. Thank you for being our queen. Happy anniversary.
Happy Queen anniversary, Queen Jima, from Queen Sohachi. I just love her so much. She's one of my favorite queens. She's taught me a lot, not only as a queen. I'm actually learning a lot about her for a character that I'm doing, our new soap called Silver Secrets.
G-Ma, you inspired Rutabaga Boogie with your boogie booty.
Happy Queen-iversary, Queen Denise.
Queen Denise, the Imperial Empress. Oh my goodness. What can I say about you? You are glory personified.
And of course, Queen Denise. Happy 20th! And Queen Louise, it's your 30th, so woohoo! 30!
So one of the things that Kinetic Universe really relies on is volunteers and donations. We are completely nonprofit. Everything we do comes from other things we do to make the race happen. And the Rutabaga Ball is one of those big things. So if you are interested, please donate.
That is right.
Want to take a moment to say you can support All of the Glory by going to kineticgrandchampionship.com, making a donation. Again, it's entirely volunteer run.
Mm-hmm.
And every little donation helps.
Do what you can. If you are if you love this this Grand Championship, if you love Kinetics, then put your money where your mouth is.
Buy an invisible ticket to an event that doesn't
That's
exist.
right. Absolutely.
And you can watch the Kinetic Sculpture in Place Saturday, May 29th on Access Humboldt from noon till 4. We're going to say stay glorious and stay safe.
And this will be our second, of course, Kinetic Sculpture in Place, and hopefully the last.
And for the first time ever in kinetic history, projectiles. Not just the illegal kind.
Really?
Yes. Can't wait to see it. So, for the first time this year, let us say,
For the glory!
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 And for the glory!
For the glory! For the glory!
For the glory!
That's a wrap.